Hey guys, Chicken and Maine, Deboo.com with a Deboo.com surf forecast update. This forecast update effective around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, June 6, 2017. And here we are 6 days into the 2017 Atlantic tropical cyclone season. And the East Pacific has gone up on the Atlantic 2-1 now with the recent formation of Tropical Storm Beatrice. If you've been following along on our forecast, you know that's the one that we've talked about, the remnants moving into the Gulf of Mexico and then up towards the Panhandle and off towards the right. We'll show you that here in the latest imagery and the models coming up here in just a few moments. Wanted to start you off with the climatological tropical cyclone points of origin for the second week of June, and this is over the years where we see formation in the second week, and you can see that there's two favored areas on the Atlantic side, and that's over here in the Gulf of Honduras in here, and over in the western Gulf of Mexico, and in fact down in here in the eastern Pacific. So what we just witnessed here was Beatrice forming down in here, falling apart, and then being sucked up behind the next front that came through in here or is currently coming through in here. And we're looking for a repeat performance coming up in the extended forecast. Switch you over to some satellite imagery now and the upcoming surf forecast. We've got this gale that is up here just south of the tip of Greenland, and that's putting a little northeast charge in the water. We also have another area of low pressure that is developing in here towards the mid-Atlantic, and northeast winds now have started on the Texas Tower buoy on up in through New England, 25 to 30 knots, gusts to 35. So that's also putting a little charge of northeast swell in the water. And then we now have this area of low pressure that's back over here in the Gulf of Mexico. That this is 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. 1 of 2, if you've been following our forecast, was the remnants of Beatrice. And then that secondary low coming in off of Texas, sweeping into the Gulf of Mexico. This is going to come up, move out northeast Florida, and is going to hook up in here. So if you're looking at flow, this is spinning like this. It's going to move off towards the northeast. This next area of low pressure is going to be developing into here, and it's going to be moving off towards the northeast. And then this area of low pressure crossing North Florida, and it's going to hook up into here just like this. And it's that same hooking pattern that we're going to be looking for as the forecast starts to unfold down in here. Again, one of the favored places of tropical development, second week of June, up in here into the Gulf of Honduras. So we have east to west flow coming out of the intertropical convergence zone, and there's 3 tropical waves that are heading this way, and then you have the eastern Pacific. So again, what happened with Beatrice? Formed in here, got pulled up, and it's that hooking motion that we're going to see with this, that we're going to look for another hooking motion either like this or an area of low pressure to come in here like this, get up in here in the Gulf of Honduras or the western Gulf of Mexico, and get a chance for another shot at tropical cyclone development. Here's the latest run of the GFS. Now, this is current now, so this is that area of low pressure south of the tip of Greenland. Here's this other area of low pressure now that's got northeast winds already cranking up this morning, 25 to 30 knots. Again, that's going to move off towards the northeast. We'll put that into motion for you. And then down in here, here's this other area of low pressure. So we'll advance the model. You can see that area of low pressure moves off towards the northeast, and that has some northeast fetch in here like this. And then here's more northeast fetch just south of Newfoundland and south of Nova Scotia in here. Now watch as this area of low pressure crosses over into the Atlantic. We get some negative swell production because winds go strong south-southwest. This is going to be on Thursday. And then moving into Friday, the GFS deepens. The area of low pressure moves it directly over New England. Now look over here. More northeast fetch aim this way against negative swell production in here with west-southwest flow. but there is that shot that this is going to work its way in and provide a small bump into Florida in here. Possible surf alert conditions, mid-Atlantic through New England as this low begins to tighten up. Now, we're going to advance the model a little bit more for you, and we're going to try and keep this within 10 days, guys. But there's the pattern that is setting up tells us that we're going to have a couple of shots at tropical development coming up in the upcoming forecast over here in the Gulf of Honduras or the western Gulf of Mexico. You can see as that area of low pressure now has spun up, this is all negative swell production now. The little bump has already come, but there's something else that we're going to be watching now. This is going to be inside 7 days, and I meant to point this out, but notice this area of low pressure that's trying to develop out here in the central Atlantic. This may try and retrograde back out towards the Bahamas, something else that we're going to be watching. But whenever we get high pressure stack in here just east of Florida, it's always look out below. Now this is 5 days, and then coming in here at 7 days, you'll see another plume of moisture. That same idea that we just had with Beatrice come pulling in here and be weak and come back. But as we get into days 9 and 10, here's where we get area of low pressure possibly starting to develop in the Gulf of Honduras. Now this is just outside of 10 days, 11 to 12 days, but it's the pattern that tells us the possibility is coming. Because again, when we look back over here, we've got 3 tropical waves that'll be traversing the central Atlantic in here. And once these tropical waves get past the 50 and 60 line, if you saw our update the other day, we talked about how the Saharan air layer has thinned out in here and it's all nice and clear. And then here's this other area. What the models are suggesting that as this area of low pressure lifts off into the northeast Atlantic, a piece of energy is going to split off and then get in here. And here you can already see it starting to show up in the satellite imagery. And over time, this is going to push out to here and then want to retrograde back this way. Something that we're watching. Keep an eye on it. We will do a buoy update. Follow us on our social feeds on Instagram, Deboo Surf, on Twitter at Dadaboo, and Deboo on Facebook for our real-time updates. Stay tuned for the next forecast update coming up.